Chicago Sports Desk. As always, I'm Alex Burstein, and welcome back to the show. We are about halfway through the NFL season, 8 weeks in, and we have just passed the NFL trade deadline, which means there are quite a few stories. But before we go to those stories, we have about 3 for the whole NFL and then 3 for our hometown Bears. Let's go to the standings. So I'm going to go from first to last place in all of the divisions. And also I'm going to point out any winless teams, which there are still 2 of. So we're going to start with the AFC East. Bringing up the top is the Patriots and then the Bills. These 2 teams are fighting for a spot in the playoffs. Maybe we'll both get it, possibly wild card, but we don't really know yet. But both the teams are looking good. Then we have Dolphins, Jets, and then bringing up the bottom is the Jets. Jets start the season well, but now are 3-5. But they still got some really good defense going for them. In the West, Chiefs and Broncos, then Chargers and Raiders, a really weak division where Chiefs are the only team above 500. In the AFC North, we have the Steelers, Ravens, Bengals, and then the winless Browns. Not a great division. Ravens holding on to a possible wild card berth as of now, and Steelers playing really good except for that one OT loss to Chicago. In the South, Titans, then the Jaguars, then the Texans, and then the Colts. Kind of a surprise with the Titans, but Marcus Mariota has been a standout this year. Had a little injury, but comes back and is looking really good this season. NFC East, let's head to the National Football Conference now. East, we have the Eagles, then the Cowboys, the Redskins, and the Giants. Eagles, the best team in football. Cowboys are off and on this season. And then the Redskins and the Giants. Giants are not playing at all good except for that one win against Denver. And Redskins, Kirk Cousins is good, but he's not surrounded by a good team. NFC West, we have the Seahawks, kind of a surprise. Top 2 is very surprising. Seahawks and Rams, 2 teams you would not expect to be up there. And then the Cardinals, which are newly having Adrian Peterson, and he is helping. He had a rushing touchdown or 2 this weekend. So Cardinals hoping AP can help them. And then the other winless team, the 49ers, bring up the bottom over there. For the other 2 divisions, we're going to save the NFC North for last because that's our division. But in the South, the Saints, who just beat the Bears, then the Panthers, Falcons, and Buccaneers. The reigning Super Bowl champs wouldn't even be making the playoffs as of today. So they got to up their game in their new stadium, or they just got to kiss their playoff hopes goodbye. And then finally, as I promised, the North. So we start with the Vikings, Packers, and Lions, and end with the Bears. Bears are 3-5. Could catch up. The Lions are 3-4, but Bears are having their bye week this week. So if the Lions lose, they'll be in a tie. But I believe Lions and Bears haven't played yet, so they'd be tied on head-to-head, and then it would come down to the point difference. But which the Lions probably hold because the Bears have 2 close OT wins. And then Packers are good because they have those wins when Aaron Rodgers wasn't injured, but that second spot's probably not going to hold. And Vikings are looking probably as the favorites, or at least as a wild card team currently in the NFC North. So that wraps up our standings. Let's go right over to the news. And the big player for Week 8, Juju Smith-Schuster. You might have not heard of him before this weekend. You still might not have heard of him, but you probably, if you really were watching this weekend, especially the Steelers, you probably did. He was a really good player this week, and he had 40-plus fantasy points. But the question is, can he stay at this level? Playing for the Steelers are going to need all the help they have to have these good standout performances with a few suspensions, a lot of off-field controversy, and a few close games on the field. So currently, they're in, where are the Steelers? They're in first place above the Ravens, but the Ravens always are a contender. they always find usually a way in the playoffs. So Steelers, Ravens, that's going to definitely be a tight race there. So then we go to our 2 trades, which I think are completely one-sided. If I were able to deny them like fantasy football, I would have vetoed them just like this. So we're going to start with the Ajayi going to the Eagles from the Dolphins for a 4th-round pick. This is absolutely ridiculous. Ajayi, here's the problem I have with this trade. The Dolphins are giving up on him way too quick. A few years ago, you could have called him one of the top players in the league. The only reason they're trading him is because he doesn't have a rushing touchdown this year, and the whole Dolphins line doesn't. And that's because of 2 words, Jay Cutler. He can't play. So if they're going to trade away all their talent for 4th-round picks, I don't know what they're doing. And the thing with a 4th-round pick is in the first 2 rounds, teams are looking for the core backfield, quarterback, running back, fullback, and then also wide receivers. So running backs are all going to be picked up, all the good ones. So if a 4th-round pick, they can't even replace Ajayi. And then also Jimmy Garoppolo is going to the 49ers for a 2nd-round pick. I think the picks are fine, but I think just the aftermath of this trade is going to come back to hurt the Patriots. Jimmy's a really good player. He just hasn't had that much chance to play behind Brady. But when Brady, he's 40. I say he has 2, possibly 3 seasons in him max left. I say if he wins another Super Bowl, he's probably done for his career. So that was really stupid. And Brissett's gone too. They don't really have any quarterbacks. I'm not even sure if I'm pretty sure they have a backup, but he's a nobody. So let me check real quick who their backup is. But definitely a bad trade. And good trade for the 49ers, though, because they're undefeated. No, not undefeated, my bad. They are a no-win team. So they're looking for their first win, even though Jimmy might not play this season. They have him for the next few seasons as he's not super young. See, Jimmy was the number 2, but he's gone. Brissett's gone. He's with the Colts. So, yeah, they do not have a backup quarterback currently. So, yeah, it was Brady and then Garoppolo. And with a 2nd-round pick, they could get a quarterback. So that's the only good news for them. So finally, let's head to our Bears news. They're coming into their bye week 3-5. Better than I thought, better than most people thought. But the one bad news from week 8, Zach Miller. If you were watching the game, you saw his terrible injury and the terrible call by the refs. Both came back to hurt the Bears, and now he's out for the season for sure. Probably his career because of one injury. Really bad for Miller, and just hope to his family that he feels better. So yeah, but on the bright side, the defense is shining for the Bears. They have forced multiple turnovers in all of their last games, and helping Mitch Trubisky have some not have to score that many points, not to put up that many points. If he had thrown it a little bit more on Sunday, I say they could have gotten the win. But losing their tight end, and it was a close 2012, especially after that one overturned call, it was close. So that game was just not good for the Bears. And then finally, Dontrell Inman looks to boost the wide receiver. He got traded, I think I mentioned that in last week's podcast. He got traded to the Bears, and he is... I like him. Not a lot of people know him. I like him. I said this last week. I still like him. My only problem is I don't think he's going to go well with Trubisky, because Trubisky isn't a dual threat. He likes to run it, and he likes to give it to runners. So if Trubisky learns to share the ball to his wide receivers and do some throwing, I think Inman's going to shine. He is going to shine in Chi-Town. But that is all the time we have for today. So yeah, NFL midseason preview. Midseason preview. Sorry, I'm losing words here. It's late. Make sure to check out our podcast from the last few weeks. Make sure to check it out every Wednesday for new episodes I'm going to get a new email this weekend for my podcast if you guys have ideas. So make sure I'll either put that in the description of this one or I'll put it in next week's podcast. But that's all the time we have for today. As always, thanks for listening. I'm Alex Burstein. Good night.